based on an established, thank you. And it's based on a childcare wages program that has been running out of North Carolina, and as I mentioned, in other states for many, many years. We're calling it a demonstration program because we're piloting it in our states. Also wanted to mention that, make sure that it's understood, this program is managed by Rhode Island AEYC with funding from the Rhode Island Department of Human Services. And we'll talk a little bit about that, but I want to make sure that, we all understand that this particular program is being managed by RIAC and not by RIDE or other government agencies. So any questions that you may have must be directed to us directly. That I meant to say directly to us. So these are the goals of Step Up to Wages as a program. We know that teacher education and stability are critical to the successful growth and development of young children. And so the primary factors associated with teacher quality, we know one is education. The second, we know it's stability, that continuity of care for our young children, and compensation. So we're really looking at those three as the primary factors for the design of this particular program. So I talked a little bit about this, but wanted to kind of dive in a little bit more on how this particular pilot program, Step Up to Wages Rhode Island, is funded. Step Up to Wages is fully supported by, as I mentioned, by the Rhode Island Department of Human Services, with funding by PDG planning grants, so federal funding supporting this particular program or funding this particular program. Funding for this pilot is limited. I wanted to make sure to note here that although we want to be able to award every single Rhode Island early childhood educator clearly deserves this, we're not able to fund. We're only going to be able to fund a limited number of educators. And at this time, this particular funding, the funding stream for this pilot program is available through the end of December 2023. And there's a lot of work in the back end to hopefully ensure that, additional funding is possibly in the future, but that is not guaranteed. And so we just want to be conscious and very transparent about this.
Okay, so we want to talk about who is eligible. So any early childhood professional earning at or below $23 an hour that works in an early childhood setting for a minimum of 10 hours per week. They must work for a DHS licensed, Bright Stars rated, CCAP participating program. You must have all three to be able to qualify. You must meet an education level. Our education levels range from a CDA or 3 college credits all the way up to a bachelor's degree, and there's variations in there. We are asking anyone who has any transcripts, your CDA, to please send those over. We want to review everything. So if you have your CDA, but you also have college transcripts and you just want to send those college transcripts, we're saying send everything you have to review, and then we can go from there. And you must work at least 6 months in your program. That may mean you've already worked 6 months, or if you're brand new and you want to apply to this program, that's all right too. That would just mean that would start your 6-month commitment period. So when you apply after we review, if you're approved for this program, then you have a 6-month commitment period before you receive your first payment. If you've already worked in a program for 6 months and you apply and we verify that you have indeed worked those 6 months already, then you receive your payment relatively quickly. So how much you will receive or how much you're eligible for is based on your education and the hours that you've worked. So we would have to review all of the factors when we get your application, and then we would tell you how much you'll be awarded. The awards are issued for 2 payments every 6 months, in 6 months installments per year. So like I said previously, if you've already worked 6 months, that means you may have received your payment relatively quickly versus someone who's brand new to their center. They would have to wait those 6 months and have that 6-month commitment period before their first payment. Then 6 months after that, then you'd receive your second payment. The supplement is based on the amount of hours that you're working and your commitment period. So let's say you go on medical leave for 3 weeks, then we'll have to adjust that payment there. That's why we have that verification visit with directors to check in and make sure that you are working those amount of hours. And like Marinelle said, funds are very limited. We would love to be able to support everyone. You all do absolutely amazing work, but we are in the pilot phase. So because we are in the pilot phase, we can only help so many teachers, but we're hoping in the future we'll be able to continue this program and help more.
And I just wanted to point out a few things that I didn't point out earlier. A lot of this information, particularly this wage supplement information, eligibility information, is all on the Teach website. And there's a reason why it's on the Teach website, which I'll talk about in a minute. But you will find all that information in there. The information is also in Spanish. For those Spanish speakers, I do want to say that the application is not translated in Spanish, but we are working to ensure that you have enough information in paper in order to understand each one of the lines or information that is being asked in that application. There's also, you also have lots of supports from our team. Lots of us are Spanish speakers, and so we are able to provide that level of support if you do need it. Just be mindful of the fact that we are receiving lots and lots of applications. So it might just take a little time for us to be able to sit down, like do a one-on-one with an individual, but please make sure that you reach out if you have any questions. Also wanted to note that professional development, although it is very, very important, and we encourage folks to continue to do that, obviously, it is not part of this scale because we are looking at, obviously like a credential or college education, college credits. So just wanted to ensure that folks know that so that you're not submitting applications of professional development that will unfortunately not count towards this particular program. And then just wanted to clarify something. So there is a process to all of this. Once we receive an application, we will review the application to ensure that it is complete. Once it is complete, we deem it complete, we will do a verification call. So we'll call the childcare program to verify that the information that has been provided to us is accurate. And then to also determine hourly wages and how many hours that individual has worked or has worked in the past 6 months, and that kind of information. The other piece I just wanted to mention was that we are adhering to, because this is a demonstration project from, this is a program that is already established in other states that we are introducing to our state. We are adhering to policies and procedures from Step Up from the Wages program. So we are very much adhering to policies of a program that has been vetted, that has been, there have been studies about the validity of this wage supplement program. I think that's all I had. Oh, one last thing, sorry. Although we will have time at the end for questions, and we obviously welcome them all. However, we do want to point out the fact that very individualized questions that you may have we will not be able to answer those at this particular time because, again, they're very individualized. So if, for example, you have a question about, whether you are eligible based on the type of program that you work, or the how many hours you've worked in the past 6 months, for example.
If you
Or-
work 10 months out of the year versus 12 months out of.
Exactly. Those are very specific questions that are very individual. So, you know, we can certainly work with that individual to help them determine whether that's something that, you know, whether that individual would qualify, but we would still encourage those applications to be submitted to
Even
us.
if you have those questions, it's best to submit your application to us, because that way we have concrete paper to look at to actually give you accurate answers. We don't want to just guess on the phone. We want to know exactly what we're talking about so that we can give you clear answers. So how do you apply? So you can visit our the website. The Teach website will have the Step Up to Wages application right on there. It's a fillable application, so you can fill it out there or print it out. If you need help printing it out, you can always come visit us at our office and we can do that for you as well. We're happy to support you in any way. The biggest thing that we are running into is official transcripts. So I really want to stress how important an official transcript is. So when you send us your transcript, if you're coming in and handing it to us, it has to be in a sealed envelope. So official transcript in a sealed envelope and stamped. If you're having it emailed to us from the college has to send that transcript over to us. And if you're having the college mail it to us, that is totally fine. If you're mailing it to us personally, it has to be in a sealed envelope.
From the college.
From the college. So we cannot, even if it's an official transcript, if the college handed it to you and it was your copy, we cannot accept those transcripts. They have to be sealed. So if you had sent us that already, we will be reaching out to you to let you know, but to try to get ahead of it, please have the college email us, send us that transcript, or you can go to the college and pick it up and drop it off to us, whatever is, or have it mailed to us, whatever is easier, but it has to be an official transcript in a sealed envelope or sent emailed to us directly from the college. And we are adding on our website, if you visit our website, we'll have the links for Rhode Island College, CCRI, and URI, their transcript page. So you can visit there to obtain your transcript there. And then we're also going for our transcript evaluations. There will also be a link there if you need to get your transcript evaluated for any international transcripts. The other thing that we need for our application is your pay stub. So please make sure you have the most recent pay stub. If you have a pay stub that the most recent one you went on vacation and doesn't accurately portray what your working hours are, please send that pay stub, but along with it, send an additional one so it can accurately represent your working hours. If you are a family childcare educator, please send your Schedule C. And if you're an owner, then you get a W-2, you'll also have to send tax documentation. I believe it's a 1040, so that you can share your tax information so we can accurately get an idea of what your income is. So W-2.
And it's really, I mean, at the end of the day, we are just trying to ensure that you're meeting that threshold, right? That we have as an eligibility piece to this program. So that's really what we're trying to determine when we're asking for even for taxes purposes.
And then lastly, please make sure that you sign the application. We have received a few applications that are all complete and filled out, but they do not have a signature. So please make sure you have a valid official signature on those applications when submitting them. And a big thing is please make sure that they're complete. Go through that checklist. There's a checklist at the front of that application. Read that checklist, go through it, make sure you have everything submitted to us so that when we receive it, we don't have to ask you, oh, we're missing a pay stub or we're missing a CDA certification. Just double check it just in case, make sure you have everything in there.
So just wanted to add this here about official transcripts to offer further clarify what an official transcript is, what is considered an official transcript. This is from, this is something that many universities have out there. This is not something we made up. An official transcript is a hard copy transcript and other academic, sorry, let me just start again. Hard copy transcripts and other academic reports are considered official when they arrive in a sealed, stamped official envelope with the seal and any other security feature intact. Electronic transcripts are considered official when we receive them from, and this is obviously, I pulled this from a university, from a secure site formally linked to the sending institution or testing service. Academic records received in any other condition, such as transcripts that arrive in an unsealed envelope or that are emailed or uploaded by the student or that are printed from the university portal, are not considered official. So I just wanted to make sure that that gets clarified. So I did mention that obviously very specific questions, we will not be able to answer them, but these are the most frequently asked questions that we definitely wanted to go over with you all, in case those are the questions that you may have, any of these questions here. One of the questions we've been asked is, do I have to pay taxes on the supplements received? And so the answer is yes. This is a salary supplement, and so it's considered income. So if you receive $600 or more in one calendar year, you will receive a 1099 from our agency at the end of the year. So you are responsible for reporting this additional income when you file taxes. The other question we've been asked is, if I work for a childcare center, what is my center's responsibility? So your employer has to agree to provide verification of your employment status and wages, and agree not to use your participation in the program should you be awarded childcare wages, step up to wages as a way to offset normal wages or increases. This is completely separate. And so your employer has to agree that this is not going to be replacing any additional wages or increases or COLAs that you may receive. And this also applies to family childcare provider assistance. Do you want to ask that next question, Brianna?
Sure. Will I receive my supplement if I move to another childcare program? So if you move to another childcare program, you may still be eligible, but that would restart your 6-month commitment period, because we really want this program to help with the retention of early childhood educators. You may still be eligible for the program, but your commitment period would begin again, and you would have to wait another 6 months before you can receive a payment.
That's super important. The next is a question that we've been getting. I received government assistance. Will this wage supplement push me out of eligibility? And so unfortunately, the answer is yes, it is possible. There's very little we can do about that. This is income. And so the government considers a supplement in addition to your salary when considering eligibility. So this is one of those where you really need to consider whether $2,000 a year is going to push you out of childcare assistance, for example. So yes, that's something that you do need to consider at the end of the day, whether this is the best program for you. I know that there's a lot going on right now with legislation and trying to make changes to legislation to allow for educators to have free childcare, but at this point in time, we just don't know where the state is going with that.
Marinelle, can I stop you really
Sure.
quickly? There's a comment in the chat about the interpretation. Can you address that in Spanish so that individual knows how to turn on the interpretation? She may have come in late.
I added the instructions, so she may have switched over already. Patty, can you?
Okay.
Yeah, that was the original.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, so we're good.
Okay.
Where are we? Oh, school age. Yes. So actually, I did want to update that, and I didn't get to update this particular question. So school age educators, whether they're eligible for this particular program or not. So we are working with DHS, and yes, we do encourage you to submit your applications. Yeah, we're definitely encouraging you to submit an application, and we will make some funding available for school age programs as well.
The next question is, I'm a family child care provider, and I have an extension on my taxes. Can I still apply? So while you can still apply, your application will not be complete. We really need the most recent tax form from 2022. So you can apply, application will not be complete. Once you get those the most recent taxes, you can send them over to us, and then we can review your application.
The thing with submitting an application that is incomplete, so just because you're submitting an application, if it's incomplete, it's not moving you up the it's not moving you up a number, right? It's not helping. We're considering it incomplete. Until it's complete, we cannot bring it back to the list of completed applications that we can say, yes, this person qualifies. So I probably would save you the time, and just once you have all of your documentation in order to submit, I would submit the application, because otherwise it's just going to sit until it is complete.
Mm-hmm.
That's my,
And the next question kind of goes along with that. So if you're a family child care provider, then you need to submit a Schedule C. If you have your own W-2, then you would submit your 1040 and then also your W-2 with that, so we can get the full view of what your income is.
This is another question we've gotten. Yes, Bright Stars is managed by by RIAC as well. And so we've asked, some folks have asked, can I just get my, can you just make a copy from my teach scholarship folder, and just, can we just add it to my application? Or as far as Bright Stars, can I just get a copy of my information? And unfortunately, the answer is absolutely not. We are receiving dozens of applications on an hourly basis. So everything needs to be in that application. We do not, unfortunately, have the bandwidth to be able to pull people's or program folders in order to make copies of documentation.
And also with the transcript having to be official and in a sealed envelope, we wouldn't be able to pull them from anywhere else, because it has to be in a sealed envelope or directly from the college.
So I think those are the only questions, not the only questions, but most of the questions that we had, that the most frequently asked. I would encourage you to, I'm sorry, Brianna, you were going to say?
Go ahead.
We would encourage you to add, I know we have a bunch of questions in the chat box. If you have any other questions, please, we're just encouraging you to add those there. And then at some point, once we answer those, if you want to come off mute and ask it yourself, that's completely fine too. So let's see.
So our first question, and we answered this already, but I just want to go through it again. Would this include individuals working with school-age children in before and after school programs?
So yes, the answer is yes. We have some funding available for school age folks. So we definitely would encourage you to apply.
The next question is, hold on, I want to make sure. How are we going to pick who gets funded?
How are we going to pick who's funded?
They decide to fund.
So it is based on eligibility, right? And we are looking at first come, first serve, right? So we're looking at those applications, going through them, making sure that they have all the documentation, trying to determine where they fall within this the scale, right? And just making those determinations. So that is really how we're going through applications.
The next one was directly sent to me. So after we go through these questions, I'm going to ask if you guys can go through your chat and just see if you have direct messages. Someone was a little bit confused about sending in their transcripts. I think they mean transcripts. Should they have been mailed? So you don't have to mail your transcripts if the school emails us directly. So the school has an option if you go to their websites where you can have the transcript sent to us. Then it's considered official because it's coming directly from the school. The school can also mail us the official transcript. If you have the official transcript in a sealed envelope, then you can mail it to us in that sealed envelope, or you can hand deliver it to us. But it does have to be official from the college or in a sealed envelope. I know we had some folks that came to our office to drop off transcripts. When we went to review them, even though they're official, they were not sealed. So they have to be in a sealed envelope for them to be official. And that's something that we're going to have to reach out to about. But if you're one of those people that had given us a transcript that was official, even if it was from like 2002 or 2014, we cannot take those transcripts. You have to reach out to those colleges and have those sent to us in a sealed envelope or via email. Is funding on a first come, first served basis?
We are looking at, yes, we're looking at that, but we're also looking at obviously eligibility, making sure that those individuals are meeting eligibility.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we would encourage folks to apply as soon as possible.
Yes. In other states, was there any negative feedback? For example, some dedicated employees not being accepted into the program?
So that's a, I can go so many different directions with that question. So I'm not exactly sure what you mean, what this person means by that question, but I will tell you that, so I'll answer it this way too. In other states have been running this program for quite a long time. And so what happens is that they have specific funding for a specific amount of time. And so if they don't have enough funding to cover everyone who's applied, there's a wait list for those individuals that those states have implemented. I cannot tell you if that is something that we're not at the point in our state where we can say we're definitely going to do that, because we're in the very early stages of implementing this program. So we will know as we are making determinations as far as people's eligibility. As I mentioned, we have lots and lots and lots of applications already, but that should not be detrimental for folks to not wanting to apply. We definitely want folks to apply. I don't know if that answered your question, but.
Is the address to email official transcripts on the application? Yep. So our email
it's here
address,
too.
It's right here on the screen, and also on the application. My direct email address is there as well. So you can send your application to, or your transcript to, either of those emails. We will get them. And then if you're mailing them on our application, the mailing address is listed there as well. And I think it's on the next slide too, maybe.
I'll get to it. I'll just go over here.
Is there something else?
Oh, sorry, my watch is talking to me. But yes, you can send it right directly to my email. And when you send it from the college, you'll get an email, or you'll get a text or an email from the college, whichever you choose, that says they sent it, that it's been delivered, and that it was received. So you'll get those notifications as it goes through. Just please be patient and give us some grace. So you may have sent it and it may take us a day or two to actually open the file. We do have about 30 days to be able to open it. We will open it a lot sooner than that. But if it says it was delivered, but we haven't opened it right away, give us a day or two to receive it. And then if you don't hear from us, doesn't say received yet, then you can reach out to us. But just a little bit of grace. We are getting quite a few applications and transcripts at once.
Brianna, can I just answer this question about CDAs, because we have a few, both English and Spanish, all about CDA. So I'll try to answer those in one statement. So you can obtain a copy if you have a CDA, if you've attained a CDA credential and you have a copy of that CDA credential. I'm not talking about the CDA training program at CCRI. Okay, I'm not talking about that particular certificate that you received. I'm talking about the credential, and it should say credential on it, signed by the CDA Council, and stamped. Yes, we can receive a copy of it. I know some folks have asked about photocopies. Sorry, just taking a picture of it. Personally, I would prefer that you make a copy of it. Taking pictures and emailing them to us may run us the challenge of we're not seeing it very clearly, and then we may have to call you back, and it might just delay the process for you. So I would just, I would ask that you please just make a copy of it and submit it. You can obtain your CDA, a copy of your credential through your account with the CDA Council. If this is something you did within the last, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, you should have an account with the CDA Council and be able to obtain a copy of your credential that way. And then someone had a question about, sorry.
If you don't have your CDA yet, if you haven't received that credential yet, then you would not qualify to apply. If you have college credits and you have that official transcript, you can apply. But if you don't have that credential yet, then you would not qualify.
And someone asked about the CDA and how many credits, college credits, does that articulate into? So as far as that's a CCRI question, and that we could get to another time. You can reach out to me directly and we can talk about it, or reach out to Carol Patnode. As far as this particular program is concerned, a CDA is like the beginning of the scale for this program. So you don't need to worry about whether the CDA articulates into 3 credits or however many credits that your CDA credential. If that's what you have, that is definitely, as far as your educational attainment, is enough for you to apply as far as educational attainment is concerned. And I think that's yeah.
For the CDA questions?
Yes.
Is this slideshow posted online? So we recorded our session on Monday, and this one is being recorded. We will share both of these, and then you'll also have access to this as well. I thought wage statements were sufficient for financials. Are tax forms required? So your wage statements are perfect. We want to see that pay stub. If you are a family child care provider or an owner, we need to see a Schedule C, a 1040, and a W-2, whatever you have. Share those tax documents with us. But if you work in a center, you receive a W-2, then that's all we need. It's the owners of the programs that we need additional tax information for.
Right. I am not a tax person, but I will tell you that those additional tax documentation may show additional income as an owner of a program that would be important for us to know in order to determine eligibility as far as like at that hourly wage.
I'm seeing very specific questions regarding their employment, how long you've worked in a program, if you've taken time out, whether it's for maternity leave, paternity leave, or medical leave. Those are very specific questions, individualized questions. So just please apply, send us your application with all your information. When we do the verification, we will get more information that way, but it's best to just apply so we have everything we need, and then we can reach out individually for individualized questions. When did the program start? It just opened up last Monday. That was the first day we started.
Of last week.
Of last week. Certificate that says, can we use our certificate that says 24 credits in early childhood? You can't use any certificates. They have to, so the only certificate credential that we can accept is that CDA credential. Other than that, anything that has to do with a college has to be an official transcript in a sealed envelope or emailed to us directly from the college.
I don't know where you are, so I'm sorry.
I'm
I
at,
can't help you.
Canella Jamie at 632.
Oh, your qualifications say credits in early childhood education or related field. So what is considered? That's a very, very good question. There might be some specifics that I may not be able to answer at this very moment. I can tell you though, that related field would mean, so I will give you an example that I gave this past Monday. General psychology, right? General psychology is, it's not very specific to early childhood education. If it's just basically, if that particular class just brushed up on early childhood education, that is not sufficient enough for us to say, for this particular program, Step Up to Wages, that it is related to early childhood, like early childhood related. There has to be content related to early childhood education for that particular class in order for us to consider that class. So, and the reason why I can't really, I'm answering that question, but not like, I'm kind of making it broad because it really depends on the type of class that you took in the college. And so there's a whole set of processes and procedures that we'll go through to determine if, you know, those particular classes are ECE related or not.
Where does the college send the official transcript? What address? So you would send, you again can email me directly, or my email, Marinelle's email, they're right up on the screen here. The wages email was on the screen before. You can send it right to our office.
If you go on the Teach RI, if you go on this website here, you scroll all the way to the bottom, you will have the address, the exact address of our offices if you choose to mail it or drop it off directly.
We have another question about related fields. Marinelle just answered that, but once again, submit everything, we will review it, and then we can go from there.
It has, again, the class does have to have, it cannot just brush up on ECE. There has to be, it has to be significant content related to ECE in order for us to determine whether it meets the requirements.
There's a question about distributing funds if someone is eligible for let's say $6,000, but we've already given away some of the funding. Will anyone receive a partial payment? So we won't be giving partial payments. So if someone qualifies for the 6,000 and they're eligible and they're approved, then they would receive the 6,000. How will people be notified if their application has been accepted? So you'll receive a phone call, an email, and a postcard explaining if you've been accepted to the program. Where can I get a list of requirements to apply? So right on our website, you'll find the application on the first page of the application is our checklist. That checklist tells you everything for any circumstance, everything that you'll need to apply. So you can just follow that checklist. And I believe Lisa also put it in the chat.
Good, yeah.
You can follow that checklist on the front of that application and it'll tell you everything that you need. Do you need the official CDA? We don't need the official CDA. It can be a copy, but like Marinelle said, if you can scan it, or make a copy of it, so we have a clean copy and it's not a photo, it's just easier for us to read.
Someone just asked a very good question about will people who have been denied but be notified as well? We're notifying everyone. We're notifying everyone who has submitted an application, first of all. And yes, we are notifying everyone who's obviously eligible, anyone who will be receiving those wage subsidies, and those who are denied, and we will not give like a super detailed explanation of what, but we will definitely let you know why, if you don't qualify, why you don't qualify.
Miguel Dominguez at 639 has a question in Spanish.
Oh, I think I answered that question.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the address, you answered that question.
Okay. Do you need an entire tax return or just the W-2? So you would need, if you're the owner,
Yes, yeah,
you would need the 1040, the breakdown of all of your tax information and your W-2. Or if you have the Schedule C, then you can submit that Schedule C. What type of credit? We had talked about that. I'm seeing more individualized questions. Again, please submit your application, submit your transcripts, and we will review, and then we can get back to you based on an individual basis. Would you accept transcripts even if the degree wasn't for the program? If you mean, would we accept transcripts if the degree wasn't for early childhood education?
yes, we will. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I would recommend that you look at the scale, at the wage scale, and it does explain, what is expected for each level of compensation or wage supplement. Because I believe it's level 2 or like the second level that does, there's an expectation for a degree. I might be thinking about the third one anyway. Just look at this. We would encourage you to look at the scale. And so as long as you have some early childhood courses in that degree, that meets like eligibility as far as education is concerned.
Mhm. We have another question regarding how payments will work. So if you look on our scale, there's a range from $3,000 to $12,000. If you get approved for $6,000, then you receive that in 2 payments. You get a $3,000 payment after the first 6-month commitment period is completed. That may mean you've already worked for 6 months.
Right.
You qualify sooner, or you just started and you have that 6-month commitment period. You'll receive your first
Right.
$3,000. After your second 6 months, then you'll receive that second payment of $3,000 to total the $6,000.
And we go through that verification process again to ensure with the employer to confirm that commitment period. Because again, that is one of the reasons for this program is to help with staff retention. And so we will be checking in with your employer in about 6 months to ensure that that individual is still working for that employer, how many hours. So there is a whole list of verification information that we just need to confirm in order to release any additional payments.
Can I just make one more quick point about the payments?
Yep.
The intent is to get both payments, 2 payments out in 2023.
That's a very good point. Yes.
So you would get the whole $6,000 in this particular year. And if we are able to obtain funding for next year, then we would kind of like restart the payment cycles.
Exactly.
What happens if I renew my CDA and I haven't received the new one yet? Can I still apply and qualify? So you can submit your application. You can submit that form that says you've renewed your CDA with the other with your old CDA certification, but please send us your new CDA credential as soon as you receive it. Is there any way for part-timers to get an estimate of their payment amounts? The scale
No.
says full-time.
Yeah, we can't really answer that question. We really need to, so part-time means a ton of different things. Part-time can be 10 hours, part-time can be 20 hours, part-time can be 25 hours. So, and we also need to look at the education piece, right? So it's really difficult for us. It wouldn't be fair for us to give you an answer and then determine that you do not meet that threshold that, we're talking about.
And the last question that I have here is again, another individual question. So just submit that application, let us review it, and then we will get back to you and let you know.
Did you see, is this if someone has a bachelor's in non-related? fields?
Non-related. Yep.
Okay. I mean, so maybe we can answer that with a but. Okay. So if you're looking at, again, we're encouraging you to look at the scale. If you're looking at the scale, the top threshold is bachelor's degree, including 24 or more credits in early childhood education or related field. Yes, that is the top tier, right? However, we need to look at your, how many hours you're working in your program. We need to look at those college credits and make a determination of whether they're actually related to, those 24 credits are related to early childhood education. So yes and no, if that helps at all. This is why we don't want to ask very specific questions, because we want to be very transparent with you all.
How long can we expect to wait for a response when we submit an application? I'm saying minimum 1 month. Minimum 1 month to receive a response. You could possibly receive one sooner. It could maybe be a little bit later, but minimum of 1 month.
All right.
That's all the questions I have. Does anyone have any additional questions that they'd want to ask? You can unmute yourself.
We have about 8 minutes. left.
Or you can type them in the chat.
And I will just stop share for a minute now that we have all this information. Okay,
Questions?
great. Well, I believe you know how to reach us if you have additional questions. Yeah, we look forward to your applications or your staff's applications. And yeah, we're good.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great night, everyone. Thank you.